Okay, part three might be in it might be part three A and part three B. Let me get to it. All right, this is definitely going to be much more serious, but I thought you'd guys like to see in the background um, Southern Girl over there and this most recent thing about Corey Feldman and his sexual battery. Southern Girl Truth. Okay, let's get right to this because I'm not good at keeping things short. In the early 90s, this is all to the best of my recollection. There are certain things that I remember vividly, but small details, of course, are going to be not there. Early 90s, I was on my way to a hockey game because that's what I did. I was actually a professional hockey player and skating instructor. I broke down and was basically picked up by this guy, brought to a rink, and I believe it was in New York. And so I forget, in Midtown or something like that. Um, and he gives me his card. Small talk, gives me his card. I call him, and it turns out that he is a. Um, oh, I don't have that centered. Sorry about that. He is an entertainment director, something like that. So, bottom line, I give him a call because he told me that he could get me jobs doing stuff. He said I would make a great fitness model. Would you consider modeling? And I said, for the amount you're telling me, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Naked, on top of a mountain, I don't care, whatever. So I end up calling him, and I end up getting in a magazine at one point. Ended up getting a shoot and getting in a magazine. And the money was so good, of course, I wanted to continue. I'm like, hey, man, come on, let's go. So he was pushing other opportunities on me. Remember, I had no musical theater, no acting, no nothing at this stage. So I end up, um, you know, practically begging him for stuff. But he kept throwing me acting stuff, extra commercial, like stupid stuff that I was kind of embarrassed to do. At the time, I just wasn't into it. And he mentioned escorting. And I said, so tell me a little more about this. Basically, he's telling me that these rich, powerful, or famous women need to hire agencies to get people to accompany them places. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. And, I understand a little more now about, why certain people would have to do that, or, especially in an industry like that. Well, nothing ever came about because everything would just keep getting canceled. Just mysteriously always canceled, and I wouldn't get paid for it. And I was really pissed because I wanted to get paid. So he says to me, you know, and not in a subtle way, I can get you more work if you'd consider men, if you consider escorting men. Huh. Now, he conveyed to me when it was women, no nudity, no touching, nothing. As a matter of fact, since you're getting paid, we can have you arrested. We can have you prosecuted. Nothing, nada. You can't, even if they beg you for it and pay you for it, nothing. We better not even get hint of it. So, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you know what? I still feel kind of stupid. I don't, I don't want to do that. I'm going to feel stupid, walking arm in arm with a guy, because, again, musical theater aside, I'm straight and I don't want to be a guy's date, you know? Um, Now, who cares? Not sleeping with you. If we're gonna pal around for the night and you want to call me your date, sure. How much am I getting paid? So, um, well, he was pushing that, but I was still resisting. Next thing you know, he starts trying to convey to me, trying to express to me why I should want to do it. Okay? In other words, He is grooming, he is pressuring, he is trying to sell me on this. And that's where, here comes the part why this is embroiled in this series I'm doing. He mentioned some names of people, some famous people. 3 I'm going to name, not their actual names. Unless I start an Indiegogo campaign. Start donating and I'll give you the 3 names. One of the individuals was in a movie. Let me see. He was in a movie, Top Gun. Yeah, he was one of the people in Top Gun. The other guy was in a movie, Pulp Fiction. The other guy was in a movie, Major League. And the other guy was in the movie License to Drive. There were a few more people that he mentioned, but let's just stick to the ones that I remember the most, because I'd probably seen the most movies at that point from this collection of people. Now I was kind of floored by that, like, why did these guys? And of course, he explained to me that Hollywood is not, this industry isn't, what an average person like you, what a civilian person, a non-actor, non-theater person would perceive. So he goes on to tell me some disturbing things in disturbing detail about these individuals, about what these men require. Now, apparently, they would call a person, agent, manager, best buddy, and they would call Jeff. Jeff's the guy's name, if I hadn't already mentioned that. And I don't remember his last name. Okay, yeah, I know, my credibility. It was a long time ago. So, he's telling me that, these guys, they want certain things, and they go to Jeff for these certain guys. Now, all of a sudden, being physical is not out of the question, and Jeff's looking the other way, his agency is looking the other way. You don't find that strange at all? Now, he's asking me very personal questions. Very personal questions. I mean, like, he's got to see me. Well, he had already. All I had on was shorts and sneakers in the ad. It was like workout pictures and things like that. You were in a gym and posing for exercises and things like that. So it was shorts and I was practically naked at the time. So he kind of knew what I looked like. He wanted real details, measurements. He wanted to see everything. I didn't show him because I wasn't going to do it. So I didn't show him. He wanted me to describe my sexual prowess. He wanted me to describe in great detail how I perform. Like, a sick amount of details that went beyond locker room talk, went beyond having a beer with the guys sort of talk. And yeah, most guys talk bullshit like that, especially when you're in high school or even in college. But this went into, and I know he's, like, there's a lot of money exchanging hands here, and you want to make, but it got to the point where he was trying to push this so hard, he was still really getting and translating to me that these individuals, and many more like them, wanted these people, and they wanted them to perform in very specific ways for them. And some of them even got people for other ones, okay? Another disturbing thing that he mentioned to me was, the younger the better. No, never said underage, never mentioned an age. So I can't in any way accuse this guy directly of being, a pedophile or getting underage boys for these guys. But it was made very clear to me they wanted guys, very specific guys, in very specific ways to do very specific things. And that was okay, and he was willing to look the other way on that. and they would actually pay me directly now. Everything that it was not okay with the girls was okay with the guys. These particular group of guys. All right, so I'm already at the 10-minute mark. I told you there's going to be part B. So, how do I end this? How do I kind of close this? So, essentially, he is telling me that these people that I have been watching for many, many, many years are gay, or at least bisexual, and they make it a point to routinely get guys like Jeff, get agencies like Jeff's agency, and other people, whether they be in New York, whether they be in LA, it doesn't matter, that they have these organizations that do it for them. And again, it's under the radar, and they have their little speak and their little code about, how they do it. And, they're just grooming certain people to, you know, that just play along. Like, you know, this guy looks like he'll play along, so he's going to be in the stable, sort of thing. So that's how it was worked. That's how it was kind of conveyed to me that these men and this group of men and men like them do it. So I sincerely believe this Jeff guy. I really did sincerely do still believe Jeff to this day that these individuals contacted him, and many other individuals contacted him on a regular basis, and other people on a regular basis. And they got these men, younger the better. That part I will never forget to the day I die. Younger the better, to be with them for certain things, certain events, to do with what they wanted. And they would give them money for, certain other things as well. And nothing was really discussed. He didn't want to discuss with me because I asked. He didn't want to discuss with me what actually went on because he kind of made it sound like I don't want to know. I don't want to be privy to these things. I just do what I'm told, I do what I'm paid for, sort of attitude. And I bought it. I still to this day buy what Jeff was telling me about these guys. He went into a great level of detail about their requests, about times that they contacted him, about the things, and he kind of threw a lot of personal information around that seemed kind of credible. And as a matter of fact, as I recall through the years, those things that he was actually telling me came to fruition. Things would come out that I would hear and say, oh man, that creepy dude Jeff, he was right all along. Shit, you know? Um, so, so, a certain person, I didn't mention any names, a certain person was definitely into nefarious things in, okay, I was going to use the word trafficking, but how about prostitution? What the hell else was it? In part two, there are going to be two phone calls that I got. One from a friend of mine, and one from a guy that I had never met that had actually worked with Jeff. Um, and I'll leave on this disturbing note. He made it a point to tell me that these men, you know, this is something that was basically, since their lifestyle afforded them these luxuries, yeah, that it was something, it was something that they always craved. You know, you can't, essentially not blaming it, or you're not able to blame it on an upbringing, because the other guys, some of these guys that he mentioned, they don't have, they didn't have bad childhoods. You know, if you Google these people, there's nothing ever about some of these people that would ever indicate to you that they had fucked up childhoods. You know, it was really just them being able to now live out fantasies. So let's get to part B about the phone calls.